Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Look at all of you jumping on. I love it. So go over to the chat, and I want you to introduce yourself so I can personally say hi to you. I'm so glad that you're here and share where are you from. Let me see. I'm going to go to chat. For some reason my chat wasn't opening. Hmm. There we go. There we go. And make sure that you hit everyone, okay? And where are you from? And what are you hoping to get out of today? What do you want to leave with? It's so good to think about, like, what do I want to leave with today? Asking that question, because when we know what we want to leave with today, it's going to really help us to make sure that that is what we create here during our time together. So I am so glad that you're here. I am so excited about this. We are going to have so much fun. It's going to be really meaningful. And if you have never been to one of my workshops before, I love to create this Me Too and this sense of community. And so we're going to be doing that as well. You're going to have a time to share in the chat. And Sandra is from Northern California. Create more joy in our home. What a beautiful thing. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing. Maria, I'm Maria living in Miami Beach with my husband, 10-year-old daughter, and almost 14-year-old daughter. Today, I want to leave with a clear picture of the person I want to be in 2025. Isn't this so great already? It's like I'm reading what other moms are sharing and it's like, yes, right? I want that too. So great. Dina, I'm from Connecticut. I hope to be inspired to make the most of the year ahead. You will be, Dina. You're going to be. And Cindy is from Illinois, and I'm ready to learn how to relax a bit as a parent. That's so it's, it's such a good one. And who struggles with that? We're going to be talking about that today because it is exhausting, right? And that's one of the things we're going to go through that sucks our joy. Diane, I'm joining from Belize. I love that. Diane, maybe I think we talked. I think we did some emailing back and forth, and I'm so glad to see you. She's a grandma, currently responsible for my 13-year-old grandson. I want to leave with workable ideas for how to parent a grandchild with depression and ADHD. Well, I love that you're here, Diane, because this is going to help you to figure out, differentiate between like, who do I want to be as I navigate this? What are those things that are in my control? What's not in my control? And how do I show up for myself so I can show up in healthier ways for my grandson? And what is depleting you and what's life giving? And that makes a huge difference. It's a game changer. Sarah, I'm from Maryland with hi, Sarah. With 16 and 13-year-old girls, I am hoping to create more calm environment in our house and handle our struggles with confidence and calmness. Kelly's here. Looking forward to heading into 2025 strong with a clear mind and a healthy outlook. You're going to gain clarity. Love it. That's what we want to do during this time. We want to get clear about what really matters to us. Reno, hi, Sarah, wants to create more peace and positive communication in our family. 3 girls, 13, 11, and 9. Wow, you're in the thick of it. Liz from Phoenix. Hi, Liz. I have a lot of, many of you might not know we have a membership, and there's a lot of our membership mamas on here. I want to be more fully myself this year and focus on the amazing things about my small family. That's beautiful. And then Maria, we have another Maria from Dubai. Love it. What time is it there? I think it is so amazing when we just are from all over the world. I want to leave with clear and measurable goals that I can break down into steps and achieve. And Jen is saying, hi, everyone. Make sure to choose everyone with chatting. Jen Keel she is on the other side of the screen. You cannot see her, but she is amazing. And we've been together with Moms of Tweens and Teens now for 8 years. And so she is the pilot of the show. So just know she's there and she's going to help us. Okay. Amy, Michigan, want to learn how to be a supportive parent while also take care of myself and be a happier, more effective parent. Megan, another inner circle mama, a plan and path for all of the important things I want for myself and my family this year, and to know what is getting in my way. So powerful, so powerful. What is getting in my way? Because when we're stuck, when something's getting in our way, it's keeping us, right? It's holding us back from those things that we really want. So, Melanie, and then we're going to launch in. I have a son who is turning 12 next week, making goals specific and measurable for this year, focusing on mindset, which we are going to do this morning. And looking forward, hi, Austin, to thriving and focusing on the positive. So these are so, so good. And I want to make sure that you got the workbook. This was a labor of love. I put a lot into this. We are going to get through part of it because there is so much that you're going to take away from today. And I have decided I'm going to do like a part 2. And I wanted to make sure I didn't leave out about setting some goals. For those of you that really want to focus in on setting some goals, that's important as well. Today, we're going to focus more on what is sucking our energy. We're going to look back on last year. I'm going to talk about why that is so important. I started doing that last year. It was a game changer for me. And we're going to look back, and then we're going to focus on what are those things that are sucking our energy. What is life giving to us? What do we want to create more of? And then we're going to get really intentional to drill down on those things. And I'm going to have a little bit of teaching, and you're going to have a time of sharing as well. So you're going to have a lot of aha moments, is my hope for you during this time. I have gone through all these exercises, and every time I do this, I've done this over the last 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, but really intentionally answering these questions. And I'm always updating them every year to make them better. And I always have big aha moments, and you're going to get to share those. And I want you to feel totally safe here to be able to work on these things, share these things, and you're going to get in touch with what energizes you and what you want to create more of. And it's always so helpful to hear what you want to get and what you want to take away from this workshop time, because then I can intentionally make sure that we're focusing in on some of those things that you're wanting to get. And I want to go over the details first to just kind of tell you what's going to happen. Jen Keel is in the back end, like I said. Make sure that when you chat, you use everyone so everybody can see. And also, I am going to walk you through 5 powerful questions. And hopefully, you printed this out. And they're life changing questions. They really are. And you're going to have time to journal for 3 to 5 minutes. For each question, I'm going to give you some prompts, a little bit of teaching. Then I'm going to ask you to share some things, what you're comfortable with sharing. Of course, you don't want to share anything you're not comfortable with sharing. And I'm going to talk about the top 3 things that deplete us as moms. This is research. This is my own experience. It's really important that we recognize what is depleting us. And then you're going to leave with an action plan for what you can do so that you can be more intentional to create more of what you want. And maybe you're coming to this call and you're feeling depleted, you're feeling discouraged, you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe last year was a really hard year for you. Maybe you experienced a loss. Maybe your relationship with your tween or teen is not what you want it to be. Maybe you have not been showing up like you want to show up. And you're bringing that here today. And I just want to acknowledge that because you are not alone. And this was really good for me to work on because this past year, while there's been a lot of really great things that have happened, one of my daughters got married, there was a lot of really good stuff. There's also a lot of really hard stuff. And over the last 6 months, I've been really, I have to admit, I've just been really depleted. We've gone through a lot of changes here. I've had a lot of transitions. I moved and I grew up in the same town in Illinois my whole life. All my friends picked up and now I live in Dallas. And my two daughters live here, my two grandkids, which is a blessing, but a lot of transitions. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about that to use some examples from my own life and what I'm learning about myself as I've been going through these questions. And because you're here, these are some of the things that I know about you. And I always think this is important to talk about because we don't often affirm ourselves for coming to something like this because you know what? You're busy. You got a lot going on. And one thing that I know, many things that I know, is that you value your time and your energy. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't, because you want to focus in on those things that you want to be better in this year, coming year. And I also know that you don't want these years to pass you by. Like you want to make the most of today and this next year. And also, I know you want more for yourself or you wouldn't be here. And you are committed to growth. And that is so awesome. So I just have to pause and say, these are the things that I know about you. And if you are somebody that's really hard on yourself, I just want you to take that in. I also know you deeply care about your family and your kids because it starts with us. I hate that. I hate that. As much as we want to fix everybody around us, it really does start with us. So you being here is so valuable. It's really the starting place of everything. And you also believe in hope and possibility, and that you can create more of what you want in your life. And lastly, you're taking ownership of your own life. And so often we can look outside ourselves and we can see everything that's going wrong, what's not the way that we want it to be. And you are taking ownership of your own satisfaction. So, yay. So, we want to celebrate that we're here to do this. Okay. So, are you ready? Who's ready? I'm going to go over here to the chat. Annalise, so good to see you from Finland. Love it. Love it, love it, as I'm seeing you here. So, who's ready? Who's ready? Me, 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 me. You ready? Okay. So we're going to start. Maybe hopefully you printed out your workbook. I forgot to say this, you need your phone, not to look at your texts. I want you to stay focused, but you're going to need your phone. We're going to look back on last year and we're going to take an inventory of last year. And I think this is so important. And this actually comes from Mel Robbins. I did this last year. I was listening to one of her workshops that she did. And so last year was the first year I ever did this. And I couldn't believe all that I was missing because I hadn't done this. And what we're going to do is we are going to take time to journal, but I'm going to have you look back on last year in your phone. Okay. You're going to look at all of the pictures that you took. And what is so powerful about this is that, have you ever gotten lost and you think about, now we have GPS, but I'm telling you, GPS does not work when you live somewhere new. It doesn't work in Dallas and very well. And big part of the problem is that I didn't know where I was going. And I knew where I was going, but I didn't know where I was at. So I'm driving, and I'm like, I've never lived in the city before. I have no idea where I'm at. And because I didn't know where I was, it was hard for me to know how to get where I was going. And my GPS was not working and it was putting me in all these circles. And if you've ever driven in Dallas, it is crazy, crazy driving. And so we have to know where we are in order to get to where we want to be. And I've always jumped the fence on this. I never really thought, let's pause and see. So looking at my pictures was so powerful when I went through it because so much of it I had forgotten. And then I was able to get in touch with those things that happened last year that I'd forgotten about and what was actually bringing me joy, what was difficult, what was really important, what really mattered to me. And I learned a lot going through this. So we're going to do this now. Okay. I'm going to play some music. And when you're done, if you could put like done, 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 because if I see a lot of dones, then I will, after like 3 minutes, then we'll come back and we're going to share. And I'm going to read you some prompts, but I want you to go over this and just looking at the pictures more like an inventory without judgment. It's all information about what the last year was like. Notice what makes you smile. Notice what brings up some pain for you. And we want to honor all of that. And then we're going to move on to the next question after that. Okay. So and Tammy says, I just did that. And yeah, and she, for my personal life and my non-for-profit, it was amazing and super affirming. Happy dance. Yes, celebrate the wins. So we are going to be doing that. Thank you, Tammy, for sharing that. Okay. So get your phone, all right? And bring up your photos and go all the way back to last year and we're going to start in January, okay? And it's going to be really interesting some of this stuff that comes up for you. All right? Everybody ready? I'm going to start the music and I'm going to set the timer. And then if you are done, just say done, okay? And then we're going to check in. All right. Here we go. And let me know if you can hear that. And I want you to write it down. You can't hear it. Interesting. Thank you, Tammy, for telling me. I turned it up at full volume. So let me see. Well, keep on writing. I think I'll try on my phone, okay? For some reason, it's not coming through on YouTube. So I want you to think, notice what the highlights were and then jot them down, okay? Sorry, everybody. Jen said she can't have. Yes, she said that she still can't hear me, so I hear the music, so I apologize. Let me see here. You just keep going, and I'll get the music for you. I didn't know it would be so hard to hear. So as you're looking at this, what are you noticing made you smile? What are you noticing that you loved doing? I noticed that I was putting together a lot of flower arrangements and that it made me really, really happy. And then I would take pictures of the bouquets that I was making, and it brought me a lot of joy. I also noticed that I had my two grandkids. It was a really tough year for my oldest daughter. And so my husband and I had for a time our grandkids living with us. And they're actually still here. And it was very difficult for her. And there was a lot of things going on, and there was a lot of hard stuff. And it was an adjustment for my husband and I, and we were really exhausted. And I noticed looking at the pictures, we were in a rental, we had sold our house, and the rental was really teeny. It was okay for my husband and I, but having our two grandkids that are 9 and 7, at the time 8 and 6, it was not good. It was, we were like sardines. And I looked back and I saw pictures and I was like, we had so much fun. And there are messes everywhere. And I noticed that, you know what? Those messes at the time were bugging me so badly. And I stressed out so much about being sardines in this little place. But look at all the joy. And that has really helped me now because when I'm seeing the messes, I'm like, oh, well, oh, well, it really doesn't matter because I looked back at my pictures and I saw all the good stuff that we will have for years to come. So those were just a few of mine. And so I share that just to help you. So, what did you love doing? What went well when you look at what was going well? We often don't stop to ask ourselves what was going well. We're so focused, and you can raise your hand if you relate to this on the things that aren't going well, that we wish were different. And we spend a lot of time and energy focusing on those things. So what was going well? And then what are you proud of? Maybe, wow, you went through a really tough time, or you're going through a tough time, but you were still showing up. You were still making time. You were still showing up for your kid, even though maybe they weren't always appreciative of that. So, what are you proud of? It can be big or small. And then is there anything that stands out to you that was an area that you really grew last year? Or maybe I'll take out the really, what was an area that you grew? maybe just a little bit, because I see this so often with my clients that they don't see their own growth. And I see this with myself as well. So, where did you grow? And some of these questions you're going to need to come back to. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So Lauren says, proud of staying in the present moment for the most part and not expecting so much of myself. Lauren, that's so much to be proud of, staying in the here and now. Also, I want you, and thank you for sharing. I'm going to read some of your comments, but I also want you to look over and say, what was difficult for you? Maybe you went through a really hard time with an aging parent, where many of us are at that age right now where we not only have our teenagers, tweens, and teens, but we have an older parent and we're having to care for them. Or maybe you had some hard stuff going on with your health. I know some of you that are here that are going through some really difficult things with your health. Maybe you had the loss of a relationship, or maybe your kid went through a really tough time last year and you're still in it. What was difficult for you? These are any challenges, any changes, transitions, difficult relationships or situations. And where were you dissatisfied, frustrated, or discontent? And then I want you to think about, what are you doing that is working best for you that you want to carry forward into 2023? These are big questions, aren't they? Don't worry if you don't have time to write it all down, or don't worry if you don't know the answer to it. That is fine. You can always come back to it, and you can always think about these things and reflect on it. Not having the answer to something is just good information. Being able to say, you know what? I never thought of that. I don't know. That is great. If you don't know and you're aware of not knowing, then you can be in the question of it. One of the things that I noticed that really lit me up is spending so much time with friends. And I had all these pictures of like my, friends with our arms around each other. Jen and I lived really close to each other, so we would get together and we would work together. And then when I moved, I didn't have the pictures of my friends anymore. So since August, there's been very little pictures. In fact, no pictures of me with any friends. Some with my daughters, although they have their own lives, a lot with my grandkids. But that is definitely something that I have felt. I have felt lonely since moving here. And now I'm doing some things, meeting some people. We're getting in a small group in our church, which is great, but it takes time, right? And so I need to be gentle with myself in that. But that's something I noticed. Oh my goodness. Here's the last night I was there, and then nothing with my friends. Okay, I want to read some of these. Um, Annalise says that she noticed that special time spent with family and friends and going to lots of different places together. So much fun. We went skiing with friends. My sister was visiting from Germany. We went to zoos and island, different museums, soccer games, hiking on different trails, meeting friends who live far away. We spent Finnish midsummer with friends, and my husband had his 50th birthday and we celebrated with family. Especially the summer was full of wonderful memories. And here's what she's proud of. I am proud that I managed to declutter our house and storage a lot this year, especially in the summer when I did not have to work and homeschool. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So knowing I want more of that, that felt so good. Claudia, learning to be kind to myself. I love that you're learning that, Claudia. So important. Diane, I made it through the year. My sense of self is still in place. So good. I was proud of setting boundaries with my 3 girls and my husband so that I have some time for myself and come back to myself this year. Setting boundaries, boy, we're going to talk about that when we talk about energy suckers. Learning to set down burdens that are not mine to carry. Oh, good, Diane. Tori, so proud of myself for all the fitness goals I accomplished, even more proud of all the accomplishments of my kids in school and sports. And Tori, proud of yourself that you were able to be there to support them in that, right? That's a big part of it. You were there to help support them. Yeah, Tammy, thank you. That would be so hard to leave friends. Yeah, and high school friends and familiar faces at the grocery store. You know, all those things you don't think about. Knowing my way around. I don't know where I am half the time here, but I'm learning. I'm learning. Annalie said, I forgot to mention that I was proud that I was able to pay off a lot of debt. That was a big goal for me last year. But it's also hard because I was taking even more work than normal. So it was, yeah. But you're proud of yourself because you had a goal and you were able to pay off that debt. But I like that Annalie is saying this because she had a goal, but it doesn't mean that it's not hard, right? It's like writing a book. Wow, a lot. That's hard, right? It takes a lot of work. One of the things I noticed is I was working too much. But then when my grandkids came to live with me, I couldn't work as much. My day was over by 3 o'clock. And so there was a lot of frustration for me in that and a lot of anxiety that I wasn't able to work as much. But it was good for me because I was working too much. And so it was both these things. Proud that, Melanie, proud that I rerouted a bad mini vacation at a family cottage with my son. Good. And and where we met a large family that included us in a day's activity. So these are so good. These are also good. Jen, I totally forgot that it was this year that we went to visit Isaiah's birth family, and we will remember that forever. And that was because Jen was here in Dallas when my youngest got married, which was so much fun, so much fun. And then a little bit of a letdown. And then I came here so excited to be with my girls. And there was a lot of reasons. My oldest, who has the 2 kids, got a job here. And we help quite a bit. And so we are, long story, but we're meant to be here. And then to realize like there's a transition that happened because my youngest that got married is now married. And there's in-laws, there's shared holidays. And so I noticed just a lot of feelings coming up for me when I was looking at my Christmas pictures, because last year we had her the whole time. She was with us for like a week. So we want to honor our feelings. Often we judge them as wrong, but they're valid. They're valid, but we get to decide what we're going to do with it, right? So these are so good. So let's move on because we have limited time and I want to get to the next one. So I love this. I love this. And you're going to have more time to share. So we went through looking at our wheel Can always go back and do this again. Now I want you, and I'm going to try to set my music up while you're answering this. Question number 2. What do you want to let go of and not bring into this year? These are your energy suckers. Now, we all know that there's some things like taking care of, for example, an ailing parent that needs to be taken, or not even an ailing parent. Maybe it's somebody that is going through something and they just require a lot more attention, and so you feel divided, and yet you're noticing it sucks your energy, right? And some of those things we can't avoid them, but we can decide what we're going to do about it and how we're going to walk through it. So I want to just briefly touch on, you can start writing it down as you're listening to me, if you're good at multitasking, but I just want to touch on the 3 top energy suckers that I see for moms. I see this in my own life. I see this supporting other moms. I see this in the groups that I lead within our membership and leading workshops, and also the research points to all of this. And the number 1 top energy sucker, what would you think it is? Does anybody want to give? That's a good one, Diane. I want to let go of getting stressed about my daughter's poor choices. Yep. What do you think the top energy or sucker is? Worrying about our kids. Sandra, yes, totally. Trying to affect things we cannot control. Megan, yes. And these 2 things have something in common. There are thoughts. It's what we're telling ourselves about those things. And my membership mamas that are on here know I talk a lot about the stories we're telling ourselves. And these stories can be, if my kid is, this is happening with my kid, then this is going to happen. We go into the future and we fortune tell about it. And it causes us all this anxiety. And so when we're feeling that way, when we're feeling anxiety, we try to control things. And most of those things we try to control, we really can't control. And so there's this real friction that happens, and it builds a lot of anxiety. Also, it's those things that we're telling ourselves. And I just wrote down some of the most common ones I hear. See if you identify with any of these. I'm not a good enough mom. I'm failing my kids. And see, here's the thing about these thoughts. They're usually pretty black or white. It's not just, ooh, I had a bad day, right? Or, oh, I lost my temper that one time. It's, I'm failing, right? The voice is so harsh and so strong. You are a failure. You are failing. I should be able to do this. I should be able to handle this. That's one of mine. Like, I'm not doing enough. If I ask for help, it means I'm weak. I should just be able to do it. If I take a break, if I don't do this, everything's going to fall apart. I should know the answer to this. I should have this figured out. Comparison. Look at that other mom. She's got it all figured out. And look at me. I'm a loser over here. I mean, we are so harsh. Are you relating to any of this? If my kid's struggling, it's my fault. I shouldn't have done that when they were 3 years old or 6 years old. I should be doing this and I'm not doing it, and it's my fault. If my kid's unhappy, it's my job to make it better. And if they're unhappy, it's my fault. If my kid's not succeeding or doing their homework, then I'm failing them in some way, and it's my job, right? Or a perfect mom would have everything under control, or parenting is supposed to come naturally. Or I should never feel frustrated or not like my kid, and that means I'm a bad mom if I feel that way. Or I'm selfish if I take care of myself. That's a big one. And that comes in many forms. Like we feel like, oh, I feel so guilty, right? I feel so guilty if I don't do that. No one else struggles like I do. Or it's too late. It's too late. Is that one? So I'm going to get over here. I want to let go of my perfectionist. Tori says, I want to let go of my perfectionism, especially for the expectations of my kids and husband. I want to let go of Melanie feeling responsible for other people's emotions. Yes. For example, when dad and my son don't agree, I often find I feel like I should get in there and fix it. No, I don't. Yes. Woo! That's a great mantra. Melanie, write that down in your little sheet where you have a mantra. Diane says, I hear you, Melanie. Relate, Megan, 100%. I can be an absolute bully. That's a great word. Bully. We're bullying ourselves. Yes, Liz says, Melanie, I so relate. She said, what's not serving me is not sticking up for my needs and wants. And when I get what I want, I feel guilty. Yes. Oh my gosh, isn't that so true? When what I've realized is when I give up that control, it gives other people an opportunity. Sometimes I feel so guilty around my husband, like I'm working and I can't do what I need to be doing. And so he has to do it. But what I've realized is that allows him opportunities to spend time with our grandkids, to spend time with our kids, to, do whatever it is, to clean up and clean the dishes. And then I'm less resentful, right? So, number one are our thoughts, and we really need to go to school on our thoughts. And I'm going to be doing a workshop on that because we always need something like that. How do we reprogram and rewire our brain and our toxic self-talk? Always ongoing work for all of us. And number two is overfunctioning. So you touched on that, and I'm not going to go into a lot of it, but like what's in your backpack that's weighing you down, that you want to let go of, that you want more freedom? What can you put in your kid's backpack that you're carrying? The messes. Okay, close their door to their bedroom, right? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to obsess about that. I don't want to spend my energy on that. That is a energy sucker. So here are just a few examples: taking on other people's emotions, which several of you touched on, thinking it's our responsibility to keep everybody happy. Ugh. Um, an energy vampire in our life, like being around somebody that just sucks our energy. And we don't need to do that. We can have boundaries around that. Or not taking care of ourselves if somebody is not respecting us and we're just allowing somebody to trample on us and we're feeling like victims, or expecting somebody to change. Talk about the definition of insanity. We're waiting, we're trying, we're thinking, right? Change, 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 versus focusing on ourselves or suppressing our emotions. We think, with moms, when I meet with a mom one-on-one and she just lets the floodgates open, I am like, boy, I'm telling you, that is 75% of our healing is expressing our feelings and getting them out so they're not weighing us down and they're not just making us sick, where we get them out. And often moms will say, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I'm crying. And we want to shut down our emotions because we feel like, oh, that's ugly, right? I don't want anybody to see that. Or maybe we grew up in families where it wasn't okay. But yet, allowing ourselves to be where we're at, feeling our feelings, frees us up. Overcommitting, saying yes when we want to say no. Doing too much for others and not asking for help. That's a big one I'm always working on. Ugh, I don't know about you, but I hate to ask for help. Yeah, Number two is over functioning. And number three is neglecting ourselves, putting ourselves last. And, if you're like feeling like, oh man, I'm like right there with you. I realize so often I don't listen to myself. I work, 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 work. I take on the responsibility of a lot of things that I don't need to do. A big part of it is just being able to coach ourselves through that. Sometimes we're going to do it, but if we can just say, okay, what do I need here? What do I need? And it's just information. Maybe you went through your photos and you realized you didn't have very many photos. And that's just good information, not to judge ourselves, but like, wow, I felt pretty stuck this last year. And I noticed that I didn't really have a whole lot of fun. I want 2025 to be more fun. So now it's your turn. What's weighing you down and draining your energy? Write those things. What's coming to your mind? What is no longer satisfying you? Maybe it served you for a while, but you're like, it's not serving me anymore. There's a lot of things with moms of tweens and teens that have been changing due to social media changing and algorithms changing. And it requires me to do different things and connect with you in different ways. And so I'm like, I'm letting that one go. That no longer satisfies me. I love leading workshops. That's something that totally energizes me. So we're going to be doing more of that. What do you want to spend less time doing? Is anything coming to your mind? And where might you need some boundaries? And if you don't know, but you know you need them, gosh, that's just good to recognize it. And then you can start reflecting on where might I need boundaries and just pick one area. One. Sometimes we think we have to do it all at once, and then we cause ourselves lots of anxiety and stress. And I love this question. What are you saying yes to that you don't want to say yes to? It might be you're cleaning your kid's room up and you are resentful every single time. That was one of mine many years ago. I was like making my kid's bed because I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to cleanliness. And I noticed I was mad about it. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I realized I was mad because every time she couldn't find a shirt or a pair of pants, she was yelling at me about where I put it. And I was like, honey, okay, here you go. Hand over her laundry to her. I'll teach you how to do this. But I realized I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be yelled at and blamed when she can't find her shirt. So we're going to let her do her own laundry. It's time. It's time. It's time to let go of it. So where might you be spending time in doing things that you really hate? Maybe you're noticing you're not satisfied at your job and you want to make a change. Good information. You can start saying, okay, this is the year, right? That I want to start looking into other options. And where might you need to detach in those areas where you feel guilty? Melanie, I feel for you, Cheryl, about the laundry. Yep. Diane says, spending less time on some things and needing boundaries go together. I just realized. Yes. Yes. That's good. See, Diane's making a connection there, spending less time on some things. That's what I do. I'll set a timer. Love timers. Toxic relationships with family members do not serve me. Yeah, we can feel so guilty, right? But then what we realize is then we don't like our family at all and we're resentful. And then that's not very good when we get together with them, right? So how do you set boundaries around that? On talking times, yes. So good. It was really good when I learned to say I have 5 minutes and then I'm running out. I call in the car sometimes because I got to get out of the car and go. Number three, when you look back, what energized you? As you were looking at your camera roll, what energized you? Or maybe you didn't see it on your camera roll, but you know it energizes you. What do you want to continue to do in 2025? And what do you want to nurture? I realized one of my words this year, and I have a couple, it is fun. If I can infuse play and fun into things, even those things I don't want, I realized what really helps me fold my laundry is I call a friend, and I try to call friends now because I don't get to see them. So that gets me through my laundry, and woo, it is done. Or listening to a podcast while I'm doing my laundry. So what does that look like for you? What makes you super happy and brings you joy? So we both want to ask what's sucking our energy because we want to do less of that. Or if it's something you have to do, it's sucking your energy. How can you either balance it with something that energizes you or find help around something? What does that look like? I love the word nourishing and life-giving. We want to invite more of these things into our lives. And it could be little, doesn't have to be big. It can be move my body for 15 minutes a day because I'm not doing anything right now, right? Could be that for you. All right, here's Maria. I want to do more of the things I love. Find time to paint, write poetry, and just be creative. When my cup is full, I can give more. Yes. Now, Maria, that's a great little mantra to write down. To remind yourself, when my cup is full, I can give more. Dina, one of my kiddos has an emotional disability. It makes it so hard for me and the whole family. I do take time for myself here and there. Otherwise, I'd lose it. But I do worry for my children's future. I don't know what I could let go of. These kids are draining. These are draining things that the kids and family need. Dina, feel free to email me if you need to, if you want to, if you need to, because I would love to speak into that. You're in a really hard situation. I have a friend that is going through this right now with one of her kids, and it's so difficult um, because it's your kid and they're in your home and it impacts everybody. And it's extremely draining, extremely draining. And it might be thinking about how you get support for yourself in the midst of it. And that my friend is in one of my growth groups. That is the reason I started Moms of Tweens and Teens. Actually, it's a mom's group. She comes every week and she just lets it all out, just the hard stuff, and talks about it and has her safe place she can go and she can cry and then having the support of thinking through what some of those reinforcements that she can put in, like a behavioral therapist. And there's a program that she just was able to get her son into, but thinking about what can you do? And what makes it really hard is a lot of people they don't understand it. And so you can end up feeling very isolated and very alone. So thinking about maybe how can you get support for yourself? That might be a good starting point. Marie, I got a dog a few months ago and so enjoy taking him for a walk in the park every day after work. I don't take my phone and I'm just aware of life, nature, my surroundings. Yeah, very tiny things. Yeah. Um, Yeah, Tori says, both of my children have ADHD. My son has severe combination. It's exhausting, taking a toll on the whole family. And I have you in my thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Tori. It's good to know that we're not alone here. Sarah says, I have more space to breathe. Last year, I was able to read more books than I have since becoming a mom. Yes, they are on their phones, but I'm in my book and I celebrate my happy place. I love that. Maybe you're going to go, what? Maybe it's when my kid is on their device, I'm not going to feel so guilty. I mean, I noticed that over Christmas break, feeling so guilty. And I'm like, no, I'm have at it. Have the whole day, right? We've got balance. There's some balance. Yeah, they're on their iPad a lot, but we're balancing it and I'm not going to worry about it today. Oh, well, I'm just going to let that go for today. Okay. So, question number 4, and this is important as well. What really matters to you and what are your top priorities? And this question is important to ask ourselves because it helps us to focus on what really matters and to cut through all the noise. And we are hit with so much every day. You're all hit with so much every day. So many needs. Everybody needs something. I mean, I love that you're showing Maria about your dog because my dog, I'm like, the moment I like sit down at night to relax, he's like staring me in the face. I'm like, somebody else needs something from me, right? It's like, it's exhausting. And I find that we can tend to focus on the negative. And so, what is really important? Let's put that in a little box. Those things are true. There's hard things, but what really matters to you? What's going to matter to you a year from now? What's going to matter to you 2 years from now? I say to myself, and I'll say this to my kids too, is this something that's going to matter a week from now? Is this going to matter a month from now? Is this going to matter a year from now? What do I really want my kids to remember me for when they're out of the nest? Now I'm an empty nester as far as my 3 older kids go, but what is really important when they leave? And so much of the things that I did focus on with my oldest until I really started doing my own heart work and growth work was I was really focusing on that stuff that didn't matter. She had ADHD. She was struggling so much in school. She was unmotivated. She had anxiety. And what did I focus a lot of my attention on? Her homework. She's thriving now, I mean, she's doing great in her job. So much was spent wasted on focusing on that when I look back. I would totally change that. So I'm not going to live in regret, but I share that for you to be able to think about, are the things I'm really focusing on matter? How's my relationship with my kid? And maybe focusing on that, building that relationship versus focusing on the things they're not doing or the things that they are doing that I don't really like. Because what we focus on grows. Also, prioritizing things, it prevents burnout. If we're trying to focus on too many things, we're going to burn out. So focusing on one thing. And then it also brings clarity. One of you shared, I want to leave feeling clear. And this is what I hope for you, is when we know our priorities and what really truly matters, not the messes, not as much. Now we want our kids to do well in school. We want to hold them accountable. I'm not saying that, but maybe so much my attention focusing on this one thing is not helpful. And it's not really creating more of what I want in my relationships in my life. It also shifts our energy to what feeds us and fills us up. So thinking about that, we're focusing on what fills us and feeds us up, like those pictures I was looking at and those pictures you were looking at that brings a smile to your face. And that is what matters. And then we're able to show up as our best selves. So, what are your priorities? Where do you want to spend your time? That helped me a lot when I couldn't work as much this year. I mean, believe me, I was still working quite a bit, but not as much, not 13-hour days, 12, 13-hour days. And you know what? It was a really good thing because spending time planning for my daughter's wedding, spending time with my grandkids, those are the things that are going to last. So the messes, all that stuff doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things. And then I also want you to honor what season you're in. One of the moms said, "Thank you for sharing that perspective about school. That's a good area for me to apply my goal to lighten up this year." I love that. I'm so glad that was helpful. It's relationship, isn't it? Relationship is what really matters. And I hope that you put that down. Relationship matters. If we are over functioning, if we're spending a lot of time in the stories we're telling ourselves that are fueling our anxiety, if we're not taking care of ourselves, then that is going to get in the way, isn't it? And when our relationships aren't strong, that creates a lot of what I call inflammation in your relationships. And so if your relationship with your tween or teen is really inflamed right now, maybe you want to focus more on how can I redirect and focus more on building a stronger relationship with them. Lauren, it's a hard time when weather is 22 degrees. I love being out in nature, finding I'm a bit off. I'm trying for indoor movement, but I find more joy outside. Lauren, do you live in Texas? It's so funny, 22, because I'm living in New Jersey. Okay. Because I'm used to it's I think 22 today. Maybe it's not that cold, but I'm used to like 5 degrees. So I still will walk 10 minutes later. Somebody was joking, it's all about the clothes, putting on those layers, but I totally relate. I did not like going out and moving my body in the cold. Okay, question number 5. What do you want? Very powerful question. Who's asked you that question before? Have you ever really thought about what you want, or is it about what everybody else wants? What do you want? Just stream of consciousness, not judging yourself. I want you to write out what you want. So write that out. Kelly, I will focus on calm communication with my daughter, the let them theory. Yes, quality time for me and say no to the things I truly do not want. Now I'm going to look at your workbook because there is a sheet that's going to help you in this area. And maybe you have it printed out. So we listed here on page 6 what matters the most to you. And here we're on page 7. And I have one that on the next page is page 8 that asks you, how do you want to show up in your relationships? Here's the thing, when you write it down, it's powerful. And the likelihood of it happening, maybe you're walking right now listening to this. I want to really encourage you, if you are, to go back and really write it out because it's powerful when we do, and the chances of it actually sticking and us making it happen and focusing on those things that matter to us increases. I think research shows 45% likelihood. I actually think it's probably even more so. At least that's been my own experience. But I want you to really think, how do you want to show up? How do you want to feel? What does the best version of yourself look like? Name it. I want you to name it. How you doing? Okay. So if you're not getting to all of it, that's okay. I want you to look at your sheet that you put what you want. And I want you, and this is just coming up for me in the moment, I want you to look at it without judgment, no shame here. And I want you to think how much of what you want depends on somebody else, maybe changing. Because a lot of times we write down what we want, but it's more others focused, which can cause a lot of energy depletion, a lot of frustration, pain. So I want you to take whatever it is that you want, and I want you to think about what you can control. And really, it's how am I going to show up? What am I going to stop doing that's getting in the way of getting what I want? And what am I going to start doing? Or what am I doing that's already working? Now, I know these are big questions. Don't let yourself feel overwhelmed by them if you don't know the answers. I'm just creating a space for you here to start thinking about these things. And then on page 9, I will. Those are pretty powerful. I will let go. And then you can write what you want to let go of. I will continue because there's many things that you're doing that you want to continue that are good. And I will start. Maybe some things that you're realizing that you do want to start. And I encourage you, don't make too long of a list. Just do one. We want to be successful. Like circle one that you notice you feel the strongest about. Yeah. Tammy says defining what you want is huge. Can't hit a bullseye that doesn't exist or hasn't been defined. I've never heard that saying. That is so good. Can't hit a bullseye that hasn't been defined. Need to clearly define for this year. Yes, really good. Anybody want to share? What do you want? So this is part 2. So the question number 5 is what do you want? What are you going to commit to this year that will help you to show up as your best self? And then we go into a little bit of creating a plan. Okay, and that's the let go of, that's the I'm going to continue, that's I'm going to start. So this is Annalie, thank you. I want a peaceful family life, strengthening and nurturing new and old relationships, my tribe. I want to feel that I can get done the work I do professionally and with my family well without getting overwhelmed or stressed. I want to stay calm and feel centered and learn how to stay centered, even though other people around me have strong feelings. I feel the strongest about becoming calm and centered. Okay, I'm going to use Annalie as an example. So this is really good. And these might be 2 words that you want to embrace this year: calm and centered. Grounded is how I think of it. Like if I'm centered, I'm grounded. Now, does that mean we're always going to feel that way? No. Sometimes we all know things are going to trigger us. We're going to feel anxious about certain things. We're going to get emotional about some things. But How do I get back to that place of calm? What are those things that are gonna help me? And so writing out, okay, I will, like for me, if I want to go through my day being centered, I get up before everybody else and I journal, I read, I pray. That for me is what I do every morning. If I don't, I am not centered. It is so impactful in my life. I cannot even tell you. So I every time I don't, there's a fallout to the day. So what are those things? For some of you, maybe it's getting up in the morning, and Anna Lee, and maybe taking a little walk, or maybe it's music, or maybe it's a saying, I notice that when I'm doing XYZ, I'm not grounded. So I am really going to work on reminding myself that it's not my responsibility to take that on. So, do you see what I'm doing here with what Annalise shared? Thinking about what do I want to do to stay calm and centered? What are some of those things? Because otherwise, they're just concepts. So, we really need to think thoughtfully. I'm going to let go of this that doesn't serve me, and I'm going to do this to stay calm and centered and write some of those things out. Um, okay, Megan. Let's see. I first put more connection with my family. Love that. So she wants more connection, Megan. Then you mentioned noticing whether what we want depends on others. And I think this could. Maybe it means finding connection on my kids' terms. Woo. Okay. That's interesting, right? But also maybe it means finding more connection inside myself, thinking on this. See, Megan's saying thinking on this. We don't need to know. We're going to reflect and get curious and think about it. And what I love is Megan noticed connection with my family, but how do I create that? And I'm just going to throw out that I notice that I've been getting my feelings hurt quite a bit since I moved here. So, and I feel a little like I'm like 9 years old, I would say. I probably feel 9 when I'm in this place because my daughter that's newly married, she's a newlywed for Pete's sake. And I'm noticing I'm feeling left out of things. I'm noticing over the holidays when she was, in my opinion, over at the in-laws more than she was with me. I was having all these feelings around it that felt very young. And I thought, you know what? I was just, really hard on myself that I was feeling the way that I was feeling. I was kind of saying those things like, Cheryl, just grow up. What is wrong with you that you're feeling like that? You are so selfish, right? I had all these mean things I was saying to myself. But then I realized, you know what? I'm lonely. So I'm looking to her to fill that. And she's been kind of my happy place, right? And so now she's married. And so I need to grieve. I need to celebrate, but grieve a little bit of, it's different now, right? And she's not spending the night for a whole week now just with me, although I could set up down the road a little vacation where we have a girls' weekend with my 2 daughters. I could do that. But I noticed it was because I was looking for her to fill up that void. And once I had that aha moment, I was like, oh, okay, what do I need to do about that? I need to be reaching out more and connecting with people. So hopefully my story helps you there. I want stability and a career change, Maria says. I want to see my kids more. I'm an empty nester. My kids are in college across the world, and I want to be kinder to myself internally. Good, good. And then thinking about that, what are those baby steps that we take? Um, Anna says to reconnect more with my husband, to live joyfully, to spend my Saturday evenings with my girlfriends, to be courageous in my writing and publishing, and to be close to my kids while empowering them to do more for themselves. So I'm less resentful for doing too much. And so they have more life skills. Aren't these so good? Thank you for sharing. Tammy says, otherwise I'm blowing in the wind. I lead by everyone else's needs and emergencies, justified because I'm helping, but at the cost of my wellness and dreams. Yes. Yep. So good. Thank you, Tammy, for sharing that. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, a couple of things. I have this sheet that I really like. And the reason it's powerful is we say we want, and I think it's really good to say what we want out loud. And then we want to think about what are we going to do about it? So I will. This is where we set our goals. Now, these aren't resolutions so much, even though there's nothing, like I said in my emails, there's nothing wrong with resolutions. Resolutions can be really good. In fact, I gave you a bonus part that you can fill out. The areas of your life, if you love to set goals, you can do that. Also, I have this, what I will do. And then on the final pages, I put how to set SMART goals. And what am I going to do and how am I going to make it attainable? How am I going to make it measurable? One of you said about your husband, a goal might be in order to do that, I want to have one date night a month. That might be just a great starting point. One date night a month is more than maybe what you're doing. So, or I will sit down. This is something that is a habit for me now. Don't do it every day, but I'll sit down and have coffee with my husband in the morning for just 15 minutes and check in. Little touch points. It's amazing to me how little, it doesn't take a ton. I've noticed that also. Megan, who's here, is in our membership, and we did a little self-care challenge. I think we did in October. And one of the things that she said to take care of herself is she sat in her car quietly without being on her phone for 5 or 10 minutes and just sat in quiet. And after she said that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do more of that. And I just noticed, wow, coming into my bedroom, this part's my office and then my bedroom's over here, but I can shut my door and I can sit on this ottoman, this chair, and I can chill for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And I feel so much better just to get away from all the noise. And I go back in and I feel better. So it can be those little things. Who else wants to share? Melanie, what I'd really like in 2025 is to start catching myself in the moment when I'm being triggered by my son. At that point, I have a choice of how to act, thus not reacting immediately. I'd love to get there to create that wee bit of space for choice. That is good, Melanie. And what is helpful to do, and Melanie's also in our membership, and you'll get more information about that, but what is helpful is and Melanie, you might not know this because she's new, we have a trigger tracker, and that can be super helpful to write out separately what are our triggers, and you write down like what triggered you, what the specific incident was, how you were feeling, and then you get curious about what that was that triggered you and how you want to respond in the future. And that can be a very helpful exercise because self-awareness is the beginning of change, the beginning of transformation. But if we're not aware of what it is, it's difficult to coach ourselves when we get triggered. And a lot of times, I would say 99.9% of the time, we're usually triggered based on something from our childhood. Maybe we didn't feel respected or maybe we didn't feel heard. So when our kids not listening to us, we don't feel heard, we start yelling because we didn't feel like anybody was listening in our childhood. So you see, like recognizing, what's triggering me here? Then we can begin to kind of think about because what we need to do about that. Because we notice, but then how do we coach ourselves? So thank you, Melanie, for sharing that. I love that you want to really focus in on that and noticing what your triggers are so that you can change them. Maria, I will invest in my relationships by making sure we have family dinner 2 times a week, game night 1 time a week, and date night once a month. It will be a great way to make memories. Those are really good. And I would even say, Maria, when it comes to the last part, we want it to be measurable, right? So Maria, what she's doing here, she's making it measurable. She's saying 2 times a week and then game night 1 time a week. And then we want to ask ourselves, is this um, attainable? That's the A in SMART. Is that attainable? And the reason I ask that is you might want to, if you say game night 1 time a week, is that attainable? Or because sometimes we have really big goals, and I think that's a great goal, by the way. I'm not saying it's not, but we want to set ourselves up for success. So would it be more helpful to say at least every other week? Would that maybe be more attainable? Are you going to be able to do it once a week? And you may. Right now, with my grandkids, we could play a game 3 times a week. Everybody's in. When they get a little bit older, they don't want to do it. so, so it's a little harder to do it. So it depends upon the ages of our kids. But I say, who wants to play apples to apples? I do. And they run and they play it. So making sure that it's attainable. Okay. So this was amazing, amazing, amazing. And you're going to get the replay. And I want you, before we go, I want you to think about what I will. So this is the mindset. What do I say to myself to replace my limiting thought or belief? Pick one. What, or maybe a couple that you notice that really gets in your way. It's my job, maybe. And then what are you going to do that's going to give you energy? What's going to light you up? What are you going to do more of? And then the energy suckers. So write down a few of those. And then how do I want to show up? How do I want to show up? Calm. I want to be calmer. I want to be more peaceful. I want to be less reactive. I want to yell less. Writing that down. I want to plan one thing a month to do to one family, night a month, something like that. How I want to grow. How do you want to grow? Maybe you're feeling like you just need more support in your life and you're feeling isolated. So maybe I want to grow and I want to get more involved in a community where I can really make that happen. And then fun. How do I want to have fun? How do I want to play? What's going to be fun for me? So much of the time anybody that shows up to my workshops, I know that you are a mom, grandma, caregiver that is striving to do your best. I just know that about you, or you wouldn't be here. And so often we're trying so hard that we're forgetting to have fun. We kind of got a white knuckle grip. And so we want to think, oh, how can I have more fun? Maybe I'm going to play music while I cook dinner. Maybe I'm going to get together with a friend, at least once a month and do something fun together. So thinking about that. And then goal. What is one main goal I want to focus on? Now, you'll be getting some follow-up emails and we'll do a follow-up. I would love to hear what kind of workshop follow-up you would love to focus in on. Your feedback, email me at cheryl@momsofteensandteens.com because I think this is a lot and I would love to support you to go a little deeper. But I love setting like um, goals, like 6 goals in 6 weeks, something you're working on. But I didn't want to make it about that because I think we're already so hard on ourselves and we already have full plates. I want it to focus on more on how we show up and what's life-giving. But your goal could be just one thing. The reason I say that is maybe it's just one goal you want to focus on for the next 4 weeks. And then it's maybe something else so that we're not overwhelming ourselves. And then three things I will focus on to accomplish my goal this month. And I thought that might be helpful for you to just write it out. I'm going to ask my teenager to go through the Starbucks drive-through with me. And then we're going to sit in the car and, drink our Starbucks and eat our cookie. And I'm going to sit in silence and let them talk if they want to. And then I have the abundance mindset message. And abundance is where things aren't so black and white. It's not all or nothing. Abundance is believing that we have more time to do those things that we love. It's focusing on what brings us joy. It's challenging those limiting beliefs that tell us that we're not enough, we're not doing it right, we're failing. And it's changing those messages to, you know what? Cheryl, you are doing such a good job working on showing up for yourself every day. You showed up for yourself today. It's affirming what we already are doing versus what we don't feel like we are doing. Or one of mine is, I'm not going to over prepare. I did a lot of work on this workshop, but I also stress myself out by over preparing. And I'm coming here and I'm just believing I'm enough. And I want to show up real for all of you and not over focus on just prepare. I just want to be with you and support all of you and share my own stories to support you to know that you're not alone. So, what is one thing that was a big aha moment I would love for you to share? Oh, thank you, Diane. Thank you. Who else wants to share as we're closing? Because we're going to go at 1:30 my time. I don't know what I love that we have people from all over. I know Anna Lee is in Finland, so she's nighttime. I don't know. Dubai is one of our moms. I don't know what time it is there. Thank you. Yeah, you don't need to make big changes, Maria said. Little things can have a big impact. You're welcome. Yeah, Maria's in our membership. This group always helps me on this parenting and life journey. Oh, I'm so glad, Lauren. And I especially like the ah. Maria says it's 11:30 at night. All of us, Maria, can we just give you a round of applause? She is up at 11:30 at night, you all. I'm saying you all now that I'm in Texas. Um, coming to this. Maria, at 11:30 at night. So I just want to say, well done. Well done to all of you, but wow. Carving the time to simply reflect and answer the hard questions. Yeah, we need to know, Diane, we need to know where we are so that we can get to where we want to be. Oh, and then what Melanie says, I am committed to more relationship focus, and I feel I can change the goal sometime in the year. Oh, good. You're so welcome, Melanie. We are not alone, Tammy says. Be present and live with gratitude for my life and all my blessings. Be my word and do what I say. Have specific goals and live aligned with them. You're so welcome, Tammy. And you know what I do that's really helping me? I talk out loud. So if I'm focused on something that's really negative, I say, I am so grateful that all of my kids are healthy. Nobody's sick. That's one of mine. Oh my gosh, I am so thankful that, you know, I sleep in such a good bed every night with comfy sheets. My sheets are soft. I have a pillow to lay my head. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that, I can move my body, and once I start that, saying it, and I say it out loud, so I sound a little bit like a crazy person, but it helps me. And our brains cannot have gratitude and negativity in the same space. So I just want to say in closing, I'm so grateful that you came, and be on the lookout, because if you want more support, you want more of this, we're going to be in more community and more space to share. I am going to be opening up our membership, and I just want you to be on the lookout for that and really reflect on if that's something that you would like more of, because it is it's tough when we feel alone in our struggles and our challenges, and we really need each other, and we can hold each other accountable, and we can cheer each other on, and we can celebrate, and it's so life giving. So be on the lookout, think about it. And here Ade Hoke, is that how I say Ade Hoke? Am I saying it right? I'm terrible with knowing how to pronounce names. Being intentional about identifying what triggers me and making notes how I handled it and what I can do better next time. I'm so glad that that got mentioned. See how when you're in community, one person brings up something that you didn't think about, and then I can speak into it, or another mom speaks into it, and then you're like, oh, wow, yes, right? So it's amazing. So, Lucille, I'm going to read a few more and then we'll go. I want to read all of them, and I always read them after. Lucille said, the limiting beliefs, negative thoughts you talked about, spot on for me. It just helps to know I'm not alone. You are not alone, Lucille. Every single one of us struggles with it. We're allowed to have fun. Yes, Sandra. Yes, we are allowed to have fun for sure. Being intentional. Yep. Speak it, girl, Tammy. I think that was an answer to Megan. I'm taking at the moment a feeling of gratitude that I have this group and discussions like this to help me along my path. Yes. So as we close, I want you all to just put your hand on your heart. And I want you to take in this sacred time that you honored yourself. I want you to just affirm yourself for how hard you are trying to do a good job, to show up for yourself, to invest in yourself, to love your family well. I want you to really take it in. And I want you to go through your day to day knowing that you are here. Just speaks volumes about the kind of mom, woman, grandma, caregiver you are. And that I believe all these things for you because you're here, that you are going to be able to make this one of the best years you've ever had, that you're going to be able to create it. And so I believe in you. I love you. I am so grateful that you're here. Please share on social media. Follow me on Instagram, reach out to me by email, Cheryl@momsoftweensandteens.com. I would love to personally connect with you and hear any takeaways you have, how I can support you, because this is really what lights me up, is bringing us all together. So Kim says, I talk out loud to myself. I love this. Yep. And that's what I want us all to do, to keep bringing ourselves those positive, life-giving messages. All right. So I love you all. Have a wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful sleep. And I'm so glad. Kelly says, I've only been a member for a few months, and this group has already helped me make important changes, and it makes me happy. It makes me so happy too, Kelly. So love you all and have a wonderful, wonderful year. I want to hear from you, so reach out to me, okay? And be on the lookout for future workshops, the membership, and all that good stuff. All right. So I will see you. I'll see you soon at something that we're doing next, or maybe even in the membership. Okay. Thanks for being with me. Bye.